And right here, this is the moment where she says, "I will kill him. I swear it. I swear it. I swear it." Will Brienne of Tarth kill Stannis Baratheon in the Winds of Winter?
Yes.
You think so?
I don't know how. I don't exactly know how. And this is so. I kind of believe it's going to be tough. I mean, it's one of those things like it's when you look at like, this is going to seem like a weird connection, but Arya's list, does she kill everybody on that list? No. It's sort of George can hit one thing and then like you're thinking, oh, we're going down that path of Brienne is eventually going to meet up with Stannis and that's going to work. The show went that way. The show clearly went that way. Unless Stannis lives all the way through Winds of Winter and it happens at the very end of Winds of Winter, then it is possible that it could happen. But where she's at and what the struggle she has with Lady Stoneheart and with Jaime is real. And she's going to wrap up everything with Stoneheart. And then I think she will come back to this Stannis thread in some way. Maybe as a part of her continuing to help Lady Stoneheart, she does go north to Winterfell. Everyone says Arya is there, even if she's not. Sansa is hidden in the Vale. She's not yet been revealed, although that's about to happen. That could be spreading west and south. So maybe, but I've thought like Stannis is going to prevail to a certain extent with Roose. I don't know. I mean, because the way that they did that whole like Stannis was already beaten, he was already defeated, and he's just kind of wandering off. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that way, but
right. Yeah. Well, because the only difference is in the show. So just to provide some context of where we're at in the show. In the show, Brienne and Pod. Well, is it Pod? I can't remember, but it's certainly Brienne finds Sansa, right? Because remember Theon and Sansa are about to be captured by some of Ramsay's men. Brienne shows up, wrecks them, and so Brienne is already in that area, right? That's kind of the thing. But right now she's not close to that. And then again, we have all the big northern chess pieces we've been talking about on Patreon, which is one: does Stannis lose? Is he already dead? How do we get to Stannis fighting Ramsay in potentially that battle for Winterfell? It's not actually Sansa that is Ramsay's bride like in the show. It's a fake Arya. So how do you? I guess technically, if you want to get there in the same way, you have her find Jane Poole, right? And then she thinks, okay, I've got Jane Poole. We're gonna similar thing, and then Ramsay beats Stannis, and then she ends up finding Stannis in the woods and killing him. That would be a similar path to what we ended up seeing in the show.
Yeah, right. So in along that same line and similar to what you just said, but slightly different, is I think you're onto something. Even if it's just a rumor that Arya is there and it was Jane Poole and so on,
she could still be searching for her.
And if they do get into a situation where Stannis does sort of several people have speculated that there's going to be a Trojan horse situation and Stannis is going to somehow sneak in there. There may be another skirmish/battle right inside of Winterfell. And during all of that, if Stannis is dying and Brienne is there running around searching for Arya in the chaos of battle, kind of like what you see in the show, Stannis may have learned when he was in there fighting that no, this is truly not Arya, and he's able to pass that kind of on to Brienne. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to kind of land them in that same way. It almost feels like it was one of those like bullet points that George gave to the showrunners and said, yeah, that's going to happen in my books. But they said, well, there's no way to get those two,
because she basically just randomly finds him in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
She happens to be at the same place he is at the same time, and she just like executes him.
Right.
I mean, maybe she finds Jane Poole, takes her to Lady Stoneheart. Lady Stoneheart's like, this isn't my daughter. And then it's like, okay, now we've got a situation on our hands. So that could be something that could open a lot of doors. But I don't. And then maybe she says, well, I've got some of my own oaths to keep. Right. Yep. One of them is killing Stannis. Mm-hmm. So I don't see any scenario. I guess really I think it is going to happen the same way, to be honest, because if this does happen, the only way I see it happening is basically her finding him randomly in the woods. Because if Stannis wins, I don't see a scenario in which she kills Stannis unless we get some scenario where Stannis beats Ramsay. For some reason, now resurrected Jon, has to go fight Stannis to take back Winterfell because maybe Melisandre is like, you're not the real deal anymore.
But you see how that pushes it. It could be
right
pushed
then.
Far back in the book.
Right, it could be, and then she basically is with Jon's army. But we've also talked about is Roose. Is it going to be Roose Bolton, not Ramsay? And that I think I could end up leaning towards a little bit more, is the idea of Ramsay actually isn't going to be the same character. It's going to end up being Roose, more of that thing. And so maybe Stannis does beat Ramsay Bolton, and then he can't end up taking Winterfell from Roose Bolton, and then there's your Brienne finds him randomly in the woods scenario, or somehow they end up fighting Stannis at Winterfell in some weird scenario that doesn't make sense yet because the book's not out, and she fights alongside Jon or the Knights of the Vale or some combo of that, and then she's the one who ends up killing him there. So there's definitely possibilities for it that exist outside of what we saw in the show, just because I think it's going to be kind of difficult to get that her randomly finding him in the woods scenario.
Yeah, here's the thing. You listed 3 to 4 possible possibilities, and that's the thing. You're speculating, trying to make predictions. I guess one thing, the essence of it, and what I'm trying to say is, I think, and I at first I start off by saying I think, yeah, she's going to kill him. Actually, the way the show did it was kind of bittersweet, and that's what we're looking for, is that bittersweet combination where it's like, okay, it's halfway fulfilled. She actually does kill him, but he was already defeated beforehand. But I think what's going to be more important is he's going to confess to her some of his sins and possibly reveal to us, the reader, that, yeah, he's been struggling with the death of Renly. In another chapter or two here, as we go through our reread, Davos is going to kind of uncover some of this stuff. Davos' son is squire to Stannis, and can tell him a few things about just what Stannis has been up to and how that's going, and we see him just struggle with his dreams, and it's kinslaying. It is kinslaying, even though he didn't actually go to it's still dark evil works, which is what Catelyn calls it, and so he has to pay for that. And my gosh, I mean, if he does end up killing or approving Shireen's death too, you may not have pressed the sword or into Renly or even lit the pyre, but it's kinslaying, and he's ultimately going to be. This is kind of why I think everything for Stannis is going to be looking good, and it's, even though we had a defeat at the Blackwater, we did really well at the Wall. Now we're pushing. Things are looking a little bit rough, maybe with the storm coming from Winterfell, but he's gonna push through. Gets to a point where, like, all right, Stannis is doing well here, and something is going to come back and get him because of the way he has conducted his life. I mean, you talk about justice and like in what when he took Davos's fingers, right, and that he's a just king, right, and he does these things. No, he's not.
Right.
No, he's not. When you look closer, and if anything goes close to what happened in the show, and he kills his own daughter, and he's already killed his own brother, then no, and he will have to suffer for that. So, yeah, I don't know, but I mean, the actual. Where does Brienne come across him again? I don't really. That is tough. That's tough to figure out because, it's so up in the air. Roose Bolton is so clever, and there's so much going on there. But Stannis is really looking like laying a really good battle plan against the Freys. So that's tough to see. But I like it. It's a good speculation.
Yeah. And we'll see when Winds of Winter comes out. If/when we'll see. But but guys, let us know. Shoot us a raven. Leave us a comment somewhere, and let us know what you guys think, because we certainly would love to get some of your guys' thoughts here on Winds of Winter speculation as well. So.